All right, we are back for episode three of Still Without a Title. I'm sure it'll come to us at some point, but how are you doing, Scott?
Dude, I'm kicking ass. If anyone has suggestions for us for titles, we're trying to throw around we're just two bros talking, having fun, sharing our stuff. So we're open to suggestions. But the main thing is, I think the big example is that we're taking action. We wanted to get this podcast going. We know it's been imperfect in regards to getting it going live and all that stuff, but this is 3 weeks in a row we've
Say Levy?
committed to this, and it's feeling so fun. The day's been going great, just looking forward to this third episode that we're recording together. But I've been in the zone lately. I think sleep really helps. Like, quality, consistent sleep has my mental clarity, my mental focus, my productivity, my mood. I'm just getting so much more done and just thriving. So I think that's really helped. But I've had the mental clarity. I've been, like, you and I have been holding each other accountable to getting, like, focusing on what's important. What are the top things that we need to get done and what's important to ourselves in life. So things have been great because of all.
So, what does like running on all cylinders look like for you? I mean, we talk about sleep so much, supplements and all of that. Yes, you have to dial in other things, but if like that piece is not there, then it's just going to be real hard to feel your best. But what does like running on all cylinders, when you're running on all cylinders, what does that look like for you? And how are you kind of judging that?
Sleep is number one. Like, honestly, I sent you a message the other day when I was at the gym. I was like, just like, I felt freaking incredible. I'm like, dude, I can't believe how great I feel. Like, it's the best I felt in the gym. It was like 3 solid days of sleep in a row. It just made such a big impact. So I think I know when I'm firing on all cylinders, when things never feel forced, they kind of feel effortless, they feel fun. I have the energy to do everything that I want to get done. So I think that's always a good sign. But yeah, firing on, what does it look like to me?
Do you think habits has a lot to do with that? For example, like when I am intentional the night before and set some goals for the next day, get some, thoughts on paper, then generally the next day is smoother for me, whether sleep was great or not. So, how much are you relying on habits there? Like, what is your, because I know just like you don't have, or just like me, you don't have this like 25-point morning routine. But so, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's basically living life by design with freedom. And part of that design is incorporating some freedom to jump on opportunities when they present themselves. Like, sleep is absolutely key, and it does begin with that nighttime routine. The journaling is huge for me, just dumping down thoughts. It's not like a structured type journal thing. It's sometimes if I have something on my mind, I just got to get it off my mind, down on paper, just to get it out of my head. The to-do list for the next day, definitely knowing what I got to get done the next day, definitely clears my head. So going to bed with a clear mind, knowing, like, telling myself, like, right now, nothing else freaking matters. Let everything else go. Now is the time for sleep, because sleep is going to help me be more productive the next day. And what that day usually looks like: wake up, go pee, get the coffee going, and I dive right into my work. Like, I wake up charged up, especially when I get a good night's sleep. I'm ready to go. Like, I love what I do, so I jump right into work, checking in with clients or doing some writing, whether it's for the books that I'm writing or workout programs for clients, like whatever the top priority is for me. I just dive into that work. I love what I do, and I can't wait to do that. And then oftentimes, well, then I'll do a little bit of work, then I'll have my protein shake, I'll get out for a walk, get some more work done, shower. Some days I'll go to yoga. Some days it's a workout. Come back, get some more work done. Another walk. Like, it's a little breaking up. So I have like moments of focused work. I know I can't do any more than 90 minutes of dedicated, like, focused work, undistracted work. Then I need a break, and it's usually, all right, I'll make something to eat. I'll do some stretching. I'll get out for a walk. I'll go for a workout. Then I get back into my work again. And like at the end of the day, I just got back from a walk before this podcast too. So I like a morning walk. I like an evening walk. Some nights it's a yin yoga class where I'll do some where we just hold gentle stretches for 3 to 5 minutes. And in a heated space, it kind of calms me down and all that stuff. So there's a variety of things. Like every day isn't exactly the same because I have, like there's 3 days a week I work out. There's 3 days a week I get in a jog. I do yoga most days. Oftentimes it's in the morning. It's a great little reset for me, like to take that break from work. It's a mental reset. It grounds me in the moment. It clears my mind and it gets me ready to be focused again for my work afterwards.
Yeah, I think for people just starting out, and a lot of what I work with clients, it's funny because I work with a lot of type A, like very successful people, but there's that carryover into like creating the habit of working out, eating better, making better decisions there, getting to sleep earlier. Like they struggle with those things. And one of the practices is setting an intention, right? Even if it's just like, top 3 things that you want to get done in a day, but also knowing what you're going to eat in the morning and doing those things prior. Like it just clears so much mental space that you actually step out of bed with momentum and you don't feel like you're behind. And so I think that those things are important. It is always like, even though, again, we talk so much of like, it's really hard for me to measure myself against anyone else and their routine and what they're doing and what works for them versus somebody measuring themselves against me, because I've been developing this for over 20 years. And there's still those periods of time, like if we go on vacation, where I like wake up and because I'm kind of out of the normal routine, like I'm like, what do I eat? What am I doing? Where am I supposed to be? All of that. And so it's real easy to get thrown off. And again, simply doing a little brain dump the night before kind of helps to clear that up.
Mm-hmm.
So that is key.
Having some structure in our days, like there's certain things that we know are kind of like some non-negotiables, like for the most part, for sleep. And again, there's going to be moments, weekends, if I have an event or something, it's not going to be perfect every freaking time, every day. But it's the point is to make it most of the time. This is kind of my lifestyle. And having that freedom, like I said, if someone calls and says, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? Do you want to go out paddleboarding? I'm like, I'm game to go do that kind of stuff. So giving myself that freedom, but it makes it easier to have that freedom when you have that discipline and the focus where you're getting the important stuff done. And I tend to get most of that done early in the day. So it makes the second half of my day very easy for me to say yes to a lot of the opportunities that present themselves. We're all different lives. Like you and I, like even though we've both been working on this for a long time and making these improvements with our habits, with our lifestyle, I'm single. I'm living on my own. It's so much easier for me to get 8.5 to 9 hours of sleep a night. No one's interrupting me. There's just so much easier than for someone like yourself with a young family. Some of my clients, they would love to get more sleep. They have to be up at 4:30 in the morning for their job. And they've got kids, so they're putting them to bed at night. Like they got to do that routine. So right now, they're not able to get the amount of sleep that they know would be better for them, but it's also life at that time. So it's not, you can't beat yourself up for not getting it when really there's no option to do otherwise.
In those situations, you only can do what you can do. And the thing I generally recommend most in those cases is you can still control. You can't control getting woken up at 1, 2, 3, whatever that may be. Putting the phone away, if at all possible, even for 30 minutes prior to trying to go to bed, and having some sleep hygiene, it can help you to fall asleep quicker, stay asleep, get a deeper sleep. And even though you may not have 8 hours, you can still be a little bit more refreshed in that period of time. And I think at that, if you're doing those things, then, I mean, that's all you can do. Like it's not a matter of, it is a little bit, for me, it's even frustrating to hear, oh, you need to be sleeping, 7, 8 hours plus. And it's like, well, I can't go to bed at 8:30 and I have to get up at 5. So if you want to come and tell me how I'm supposed to do that, or just take care of everything else while I go to sleep, that'd be awesome, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
just not possible for everybody. I did want
I
to
agree.
ask. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry.
This is such a fun topic to me. Partly because I know like a lot of what we're talking about, you hear so many different hacks and stuff. Like if you want to optimize your sleep, like checking all these boxes and things to do, like the journaling, stretching in the evening, all this stuff, it all helps me sleep. But it's when I sit back and I think about it, like I'm doing this stuff because it feels so fucking good. Like at the end, tonight when we stop recording this podcast, I've already got my lavender incense set up. I'm gonna light that right away. It's a calming, soothing scent. I'm gonna start doing some gentle stretching. I'll do a little, just pull out my journal. It's, and I don't even think of it so much of a brain dump. A lot of times it's a creative opportunity for me. It just, like, you feel the relaxation. And I'm not even thinking I've got to do this if I want to get a great night's sleep. I'm doing this because, man, do I ever feel chill. Like it kind of melts any stress that may have occurred throughout the day. It just puts me in a great state. So it's doing these things not because, well, this is what so and so said, this is a great hack to get a great night's sleep. It's like, no, like pay attention. Like when you're doing those things, it shouldn't be something that you feel you have to do. It should be something like you start doing it and you're like, man, this feels pretty fucking good right now.
Yeah, I think what you're saying there is like doing something with intention and awareness, and like I'm not gonna say it's not any different if you're stretching versus scrolling on your phone, but that mindlessness like is the key part to all of that. And so yeah, a lot of the times in the evenings, I love that. I mean, that's the time that I can really catch up with the kids and connect with them, connect with my wife. Even if it is watching TV, if we're both just like into a show, it's not something we do often, especially during the days, and to have that time to be able to relax and be very intentional, be present with them. We do a lot of here lately. It's something that's kind of we've always done, and then it drops off and we pick it back up. But we've been playing a lot of board games, and so I mean, we just can get lost in that, and it's amazing because even the kids, they get like super into it. They're not on devices. I'm not on device. No one's on a device, and you just get lost in an hour and a half, whatever that may be. And then you find after the transition to everything else is so much easier versus like that constant, like even though you're being stimulated, like when it's via an iPad, a phone, TV, like it's just different coming off of that than it is something like my wife. It's just hilarious. We have books everywhere now, little vignettes. Seating areas is something we were very intentional about creating because it creates conversation, you're comfortable and whatnot. We've been reading a lot of poetry, just a lot of like you can pick up a different book and read a couple of pages of something, whether it's self help, an autobiography, the history of North Carolina, English poetry, literature, and it does bring up like interesting topics of conversation, but you do find that you are more present, or at least for me, like I am more present in my day and of my surroundings. I'm not just like in that haze of staring at a screen for 3 hours.
Mm, I
And
totally agree.
I'm somebody, I love shows. Like we watch shows and we watch a lot of anime. We do the family movies. We love going to the movies. So I'm not anti any of that. But it's just a very clear difference. Like when I stop screens, probably around this time, and even if lights are on, even if there's a lot of action happening, a lot of conversation, it's easier for me to fall asleep and wake up refreshed versus if I have my phone. It's pretty much definitive at this point. It's not up for debate. When I'm on screens later, I don't sleep as well.
100%. There's just no doubt about it. And it's wild that you brought all of that up, because in my mind, that's where my head was at before I even started talking about it. Like when we started talking about your family and your kids, I'm like, man, I started recalling the nighttime routines that I had with my kids when they were growing up. And that was exactly it. After dinner, if their homework was done, it was game time. And we had a blast playing games. And when they were younger, it was a lot of, after the games, it was reading them books. So getting them into that habit of reading books, which they still are in that habit. I'm in that habit. Then it got to the point where they started reading books on their own in bed. So then we started reading our own books. But yeah, it's been the board games, the books. It's something about the connection as well. And it's such a positive bonding experience for the most part. Like it just creates those feel good endorphins. Yet if I am to scroll through my phone, it's a lot of times where, like, even if like I do have on Instagram, like most of my Instagram is poetry and different like motivational stuff. But if I open up Facebook, there's just so much crap going on in the world right now. It's likely that something is going to trigger something in my mind, even if it doesn't upset me or anything. There's more likely I'm going to go to bed thinking about something that really doesn't deserve to hold any space in my mind, and it could prevent me from getting a better sleep than had I not looked at that stuff. And this is all like talking about board games and reading, like this kind of stuff. Like it's so important. Like it really does tie in to building your best body and your healthiest body, your overall well-being, and really getting the most joy out of life. It's so much more to this than your meal plans and your workout programs. Like this is the big stuff that really does play a big part in your overall results for sure.
Plus, for anyone that does have kids, no matter the age, when they see you doing it, when they see you reading a book, when they see you, going out to eat and getting a dessert and enjoying that responsibly, well, then they pick up on those things. Those are habits and that they carry on later in life. And so it's just important overall, I think, to have that, as much as things have changed and now we're kind of jumping into parenting, but, kids are they're sponges, right? And they soak up all of that. But at the end of the day, they're like, I still have not met a kid who, if you show them attention and whatever it is, they don't get like go down a rabbit hole and it'll pull them away from a screen. Like they would much rather be exploring in that manner, whether it's a board game. I mean, we get asked to play games and stuff, and there's a cool restaurant right in our neighborhood that has, I think they have over like 300 board games, and you can go and sit and try out different games, and it's just cool. It's just cool to get lost in that and that connection. And it does. If your stress levels are lower, you're sleeping better, you're going to have more energy to tackle your day for your workout. And it's just that cycle, instead of this vicious cycle that you're in that you like can't get out. like that's the cycle you want to create. It just builds so much momentum that you can just carry, not just in the gym, but in every aspect of your life, really.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So spring, like this is like the first full week of spring that we're into. Does anything change for you activity wise? Are there any different things that you get into, or does things pick up more
So
than in the winter months?
it was my buddy's 40th birthday. Was it last week? And it's part of my pickleball group, and so we all got back out there. We had realized it was the last time we had all played together was my wife's birthday in November, and so we were like, that's been too long. It has brought pickleball back into our life. Yesterday, it was pretty funny because talk about being in shape, like the difference between training for just like general physical preparedness versus something sports specific. And, I consider myself in pretty good shape. Like I can go out and run. Like I'm not going to go run a marathon or anything, but I'm not going to like die from running 2 to 3, 4, 5 miles, whatever, and going out there and playing pickleball. But I got a private lesson yesterday, and probably the last 30 minutes, I think my heart rate was plus 140 easily. And like I felt it too. And it was like, there's a difference between, I don't train that way, therefore that is going to affect me differently. So yeah, I have, because that pickleball is something I want to get better at, something I want to explore. It's something I want to do more. My training for me does shift, and it's like one of those things. Is it volume? Like I just may never know the answer, but legs, when I train legs multiple times a week, I'm always more rundown. It doesn't matter if I'm not doing compound lifts. If I'm doing compound lifts, I could be doing leg extensions and leg curls. Like I am just more what I consider beat up, right? I'm never like 100% just like perfect, feeling some hyperbole there, but like once you get past 40 and you've been working out and you pursue things hard, you're a little sore and things are a little tender. So yeah, I have switched up my workouts, got back out there now that the weather, it's not so cold, and to accommodate more pickleball in my life.
So in the winter months, how often would you say you were playing pickleball? And then now what's your intention with pickleball? Like how many times a week do you plan on committing to that
So during
practice?
the winter, we'd still get out there some cold days, but it was probably, let's say, once a week. And we do have a couple of indoor courts. One that is closest to us opened up late summer, maybe even after that. So that is an option going forward, even when it gets super hot. But now I want to get out, 2, 3 times at least. And every time I'm going out there, it's not like 30 minutes. It's probably 2 hours. And so I'm taking the family type thing. And so I'm not just
Yeah,
abandoning all duties.
super selfish there. Okay, so do you find it's mostly the leg training that would have a negative impact on your pickleball performance, or do you even find like some upper body training can have an impact as well?
It's funny because randomly my oldest son today was like, if you ever had like a muscle you just don't ever use and it just gets like super sore when you do one thing, and I was like, yes, I do, because I'd never swung in a backhand 60 times in a row, and my left lat is actually like angry at me today. And I was like, as soon as I woke up, and I was like, why is that? And I was like, yeah, you don't generally fling your arm as hard as you can that many times in a row. So I forgot the original question.
So that like Like, so do you find like your upper body workouts will have a negative impact on your pickleball? Or if you're sore from pickleball as well, does that mean like if you're planned for an upper body workout, is that something you would work around?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some impact. Now, I think you're probably at the same stage where you just kind of know how to work around things. And it's also something that I know I don't have to like stop working out or drop a day of weight training right now. Like, in a couple of weeks, I'll be good. But yeah, legs generally get affected. And they just always have, for as long as I can remember. That's why I'm probably not a runner. Like, I just get, my legs get heavy. Like, I can feel it. I can just like feel it once the fatigue starts to build up. And yesterday is a little bit of a unique case because in a pickleball game, we play doubles. So you have three other people on the court, and it isn't so much like we were pushing yesterday, like sprint, essentially backpedaling to the baseline, running forward, moving left and right, forehands, backhands, like all of it. And I'm trying to get to what's called the kitchen, and then she's pushing me back. And it was just like rapid fire for an hour. And so it's just different. But yes, today I was very thankful. Like, I wasn't a lifting day. It would have definitely impacted that, but I did get out to play pickleball, and little tight, but once you get warm, it's not a big deal.
Right, right. Now I
Do
want to
you notice
revisit.
or
Okay, go ahead.
really quickly, do you notice with like when you're doing an inversion class, like how are you structuring things because I mean that's a workout in and of itself.
For sure. There's definitely been, as we've been talking about, I think in each of our previous two episodes here, awareness is number one, like paying attention, like being aware of how my body is recovering, how it's feeling. Cause like I want to do it all. Like if I could do inversion classes every single day and weight train 5 days per week and jog, I think I would do all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
I just know my body can't handle it. And I've got to be honest with myself at the same time. So the awareness, the heightened sense of awareness, and the honesty is super important, because it's very easy to say, oh yeah, I can do it. Like I'm fine, I can handle this. But when you really start paying attention, like, you know what, I could potentially be getting more out of the inversion
Everything else.
practice, more out of my yoga, more out of my weight training, if I structure things a little bit differently. And for me, that's meant reducing my weight training to 3 times per week. It's meant that, and even when I did that, I reduced my weight training to 3 times per week, I was still hitting a lot of very intense yoga practices where it was very physically demanding, a lot of the inversion stuff. And I was finding like I was feeling still that accumulated fatigue. I wasn't being quite honest with myself. I'm like, I can do this, I can work through it, I can still get up there. But then I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to, as much as I am hooked on learning all these inversion calisthenic type skills, I think it's in my best interest to cut some of that back a little bit and start incorporating more of the yin yoga classes, which focus more, it's more restorative. You're holding those stretches, you're melting into the stretches, those poses for 3 to 5 minutes. And it's a great opportunity to work on your mindset as well, clearing your mind, being present in the moment, focusing on your breath. So doing that 2 to 3 times per week, and pulling back the inversion classes. I only do 2 inversion classes and 2 kind of like base flow type classes where it's like technique but it's not as demanding. And then the rest of the classes are just nice, easy flow classes. Plus so I'm still in the yoga room. I still go to yoga class 6, 7 days per week, but a lot of it, almost half of it, is more restorative type yoga. And man, like what I noticed that very first week where I made that change, when I went to the the first inversion class, I noticed, I'm like, holy crap, I feel like I'm performing so much better. I have so much more control. I feel recovered. Like I have more of myself to
Yeah.
give to this practice. I had more of myself to give to my weight training sessions. I just had more of myself to give to everything that I was doing because I was pulled back. I finally found what I think is the right balance for me of effort and ease with my training, my active lifestyle here.
Yeah, I think it's again, you said it, it's being honest with yourself and understanding that at a certain point you're not making any gains. And I'm not just talking about muscular gains. Like once the fatigue kicks in, then your technique's going to change. And obviously, injury risk is going to go up. Like, I could tell yesterday, and I wasn't afraid of being injured, but like towards the very end, like all of my forehands were just hitting the net. And it was because my technique was just going because I was physically tired. Now, there is some benefit, I always think, to operating in those spaces because then you learn how to mentally dig and to concentrate a little bit more. And then, but it's like towing a very fine line between a negative and not being able to recover, getting injured, versus like recovering and performance increasing. And for instance, today, I wouldn't, if I were to have taken another class, there's so many other skills I could have worked on that would all apply to the game, but that weren't so physically demanding. So it's essentially what you're talking about. And you have your weight training, they have their specificity, and then you have different classes with kind of the same thing that you're able to practice inversions. You're able to go more frequently, operate at a higher level without so much accumulating so much fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest lesson I have learned being 44 versus 34 or 24 is I can still push very, 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 very hard. And whether that's pickleball, weight training, if I'm running, if I'm doing a hike, and any of those things, but I have to be much more like, it's almost painful to admit, but with recovery, like I have to be much more mindful of recovery. Like performance hasn't fallen off. It's actually probably gotten better as I've learned to kind of understand the energy systems and only apply what is necessary at a specific moment versus just going all out and in a 50-minute run and I spent all of my energy in 5 minutes and then it's just like pure pain for 45 minutes. But yeah, it's a recovery. It's like, what's the point? Like, what am I trying to get out of this? And that allows me to then better adapt my training. And I learned this from you, like recovery is such a, it's such a nuanced topic and we can have guidelines, but it's still going to come down to the individual because I used to ask you questions like, well, what if I were to do one set of chest? Like all of these theoretical things, like such a low amount of volume. And the answer still is, it depends, right? It depends because person A may not recover from that and person B may not get enough stimulus and it could be perfect for person C. And it's never quite the same. There's always that like it waxes and wanes, but overall, like my legs are the first to go. I can push. Maybe it's the amount of weight. I've like tried to theorize like why this is. Like I'm very efficient in working out. Like I can get to pushing a lot of weight very quickly with great technique, pushing very, very close to failure. And I think with my legs, they're just so much more strong than my upper body. That's the only thing I can think. And so that like the cardiovascular side of runs and pickleballs and like those explosive movements coupled with like super heavy lifting, just I start to feel it after a while.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's great that you have that awareness and you're being honest with yourself about it, so you can structure things in a way that's going to serve you better. Because yeah, you could work through it. Like I could. It's like this whole thing with yoga and the calisthenics and the workouts, the inversions. I was doing it and I did it for a long time. And reflecting back on it now, I've made these adjustments and I'm feeling so much better. It's very much how I felt when, like, the high volume workouts, being in the gym 6 days per week for 90 minutes to 2 hours at a time. Like, yeah, I did it. And I was still able to make some progress during that time. But once I reduced my training volume and the number of days I was working, I'm like, okay, this is so much better. And if anything, my physique improved. I feel so much better. Like right now, so like as soon as I made those changes, I'm like, God, it just, my performance in everything I'm doing has improved. I'm feeling better. I'm looking better. I'm sleeping better. So you really got to be honest with all of that. Just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
For some people, dialing it back and like feeling the way I'm feeling right now, where I am fully recovered between sessions, some people be like, but I'm not sore, I'm not beat down, I'm probably not doing enough. Like, no, you don't need to. Because like I was definitely, I could do it, but man, like it was my shoulders for me. It was because it's a lot of inversions, a lot of being upside down, very demanding on especially the front of the shoulders. I found for me that was the thing that I would start to notice towards the end of the week that was wearing me down, that I had to pay attention to. But yeah, there was other aspects as well. So I am curious with you with the leg training and knowing how you recover there. So how does your leg workouts, how do they change depending on whether you're training them once a week, 2 times a week, or 3 times per week?
If I'm training it twice a week, I love, if I'm not doing a full body, and I'm doing like an upper lower split, then usually one day is more quad focused, one day is more hamstring glute focused. And it's not like I don't do any quads on glute or hamstring day and vice versa. It's just there's a little bit more variety there. Now, if I'm doing, of course, an upper lower, or excuse me, full body, that also works too. Although I love full body training and it's probably something I need to do more of, but I start to get mentally fatigued. Like for me, it's easier to say like, okay, hey, today is a pull day. I lock in. It's just so much less mentally taxing. I don't know why, if I'm just like, I don't know why it is. But it just is easier for me to say, okay, this is what that day is versus to say, okay, like, oh, I hit this, I hit back, I hit chest. Now I got to get into legs. And legs for me are always one of the reasons is I think like if you're doing anything with weight on your back or even a leg press or something like that, where you have so much more weight and so much more can go wrong. Like, let's say you're in a hack squat and you just crumple, like it's more mentally taxing to me than doing pull-ups or doing some chest supported row or a bicep curl. Like, you just drop the weight in a lot of those cases and there's no harm, no foul versus something like an RDL where, again, you have to dial in your technique. And yes, there's a margin of error there. Like, it's not ever going to be perfect, especially when you get into heavier weights. But it's just so much more mentally engaging and taxing for me. But right now, what I've done is because upper body just doesn't, I just don't get as fatigued. So I'm doing a push pull upper lower, and I do throw a little bit of leg volume on my pull day because I love working out legs. And also, I find that it keeps me from getting like too sore with only working them out one day a week. That little slight stimulus on that pool day kind of like checks the box, and it's like, okay, hey guys, we're still here, like no need to freak out type thing. Yeah.
I can relate with the full body workouts, like that mental hurdle to overcome. Like that's exactly how I used to do. Honestly, I couldn't stand the idea of full body workouts. Decades ago, I thought people who did them had lost their minds, but I just found it very daunting, the thought of having to, especially hitting chest, back, and legs in one workout. But I think at that time I was like thinking I had to still hit it with pretty high volume in that workout as well. But even when I started doing it, I think the first full body workout I might have did was 2 years ago. Where it's like, I did it. I'm like, it was okay. It was nice. Now it's my favorite freaking split by far. I think because handling the right kind of volume and to me, like a body part split, going into the gym knowing all I'm doing is legs today, damn. Now that's a mental hurdle. That's something that I definitely have to overcome, knowing that it's leg day there and it's going to be pretty punishing. But yeah, I'm enjoying the full body more than anything right now. Striking the right balance with the stimulus that I'm providing them, the amount of volume that I'm providing them with per workout compared to in the past, where I just tried to do too much. And I'm curious for you, like, do you have any, whether you're training a muscle group once a week, 2 times per week, or 3 times per week, is there a certain number of sets that you aim for certain muscle groups per week for the weekly volume and spreading it out?
Yeah, so the great thing about full body is that you're hitting a muscle group every 2 sleeps, right? And so if you're doing that, then I think 1 to 2 sets may sound low, but I think that is good depending on the exercise. I mean, maybe you're hitting something 3 times and 3 times in a workout, and you can do 2 different exercises, and still 9 sets in a week is not crazy. And then if I'm doing an upper lower, it kind of jumps into still that like 2 to 4, 3 to 4 sets, 2 to 4 sets, because I'm hitting everything every third day. Then of course that will go up. I don't really do, and I haven't in a while done like a body part split. But again, I would get into that 4 to 6 set range there. And that sounds mentally draining to me as well. It's funny when people, I'm sure I know you get this a lot. I get it a lot too. Like when people ask like how many days a week I work out, what am I eating? Like I get it just at very random times. And I tell people like I am the laziest fit person you will meet because I don't want to be 2 hours in the gym. Like, yeah, I want to be in there more frequently, but it's not for, I want to get out and live life and hang out and do other things. And I don't want to be working out that long. But that's pretty much my guidelines. I think it's pretty standard. It's like 1 to 2 sets. If I'm doing full body or if I'm programming that, person dependent, goal dependent, what other activities are going on, what kind of stress levels that we're working with, like what's the focus, all of that is taken into consideration. And then upper lower, 2 to 4 sets per muscle group. But obviously I'm not going 4 sets on chest and back and bicep and tricep, abs. Like it's just not, I mean, so how are you structuring things and sets and all of that with the
Very similar, very, very similar to yours, which is so different from the past. Like I used to be such high volume because that's what the research showed. I don't know how the hell I managed to do that kind of volume in the past, but I did it. Yeah, so now very similar, I would say, yeah, 1 to 3 for full body workouts 3 times per week. One would be if it's a smaller like biceps or triceps, but I still find for the most part I'll still hit them with 2 sets, I find oftentimes, and 3 sets for the major muscle groups. I find that works really well for me. I recover well from that. And I think the reason why I didn't enjoy the full body workouts in the past was that I was doing more. I was trying to get 5, 6, 8. I was trying to crush those body parts in a full body workout. But if I'm working a muscle group twice per week, it's going to be 3 to 5. 5 would be overreaching when I'm really trying to step things up there. So 3 to 5 sets for the major muscle groups twice a week. So again, with the full body, you're looking at, if it's 3 sets for the major muscle groups, that's going to be 9 sets at the end of the week. If you're an upper lower split, if you push it to the highest end where you're doing 5 sets for the major muscle groups, that's going to be 10 sets for the week. But that's only occasionally where I'll hit that 5 sets. It's typically 3 to 4. So it's still going to end up being around that 8 to 10 sets total for the week. Body part split routine, which I still enjoy throwing in from time to time. It offers just a different kind of challenge there. And just for the fun factor, some of the members of the Lose Fat Get Jacked Inner Circle who follow the same workouts as I do every month, they enjoy a body part split routine every once in a while. And I think it's good you're not going to hit the same kind of total volume typically for the week with a body part split routine as you would if you spread it out with a full body routine or an upper lower split. But if you're hitting more sets in that workout, even though you know the diminishing returns are definitely happening with each set that you're doing, if I'm doing a body part split routine, it could be 6 to 9 sets in that workout. 9 sets destroys me. And it's funny because when I used to do body part split routines, I would do upwards 14 to 16 sets for a body part in a workout. I'm like, how the hell? Like 12, I would consider 10 to 12 sets on a body part split routine 15 years ago. I would have thought that's low volume. I got to do more, baby. But just knowing that at the end of it, you're just so beat down. And like the second half of your workout, you're almost not even feeling the engagement with the muscles anymore. It's just mentally broken down. Your body it's just so excessive. But I like the idea of pushing it 6 to 9 sets in that workout just to offer your body the different kind of challenge. Who knows if there's some sort of benefit to that? It used to be at one point, the theory was that maybe it would increase the myonuclei in your muscles, which could increase the satellite cells and give you more growth potential. I think that's been disproven. But either way, I think it's just a fun challenge to do every once in a while to throw it in there. So that's kind of the formula that I follow with those different approaches.
Yeah, and of course it's just adjusting as needed. It's pretty funny. It's kind of ironic that we're talking about this. And I was watching pickleball. We have all of the pickleball pros in Raleigh for a tournament that's happening this week, and so that kicked off today. And the last match of the day, in the interview, like I don't even know that I can't even remember what they asked her, but she like jumped right into it and she was like, yeah, I wish I wouldn't schedule like tournaments such like back to back all the time and like give us rest, because she's like, it's mentally like it's hard flying out on a Sunday, then you're right back at it the next day in practice, and then you've got to play games starting that Wednesday, and like you have, no matter what you think of pickleball, like tennis fans who hate pickleball, but it's just grueling to like, even the people who are doing it at the highest level, you can arguably say need more rest, but they feel the effects. Performance decreases, chance of injury goes up. And like even those small breaks, like even one day of just rest can make a world of difference. And so that I think is a big takeaway for me in all of this. Like there isn't, I did always, like I understand I was just wanting to make results, right? And make them as quick as possible and looking for the holy grail of workout splits or diet. And it just doesn't exist. Like it's always going to be, there's has to be some level of not shock absorbers, but some freedom to make changes and call audibles so that you can stay fresh enough to continue to progress, to get in the gym. Because I think a lot of what happens is people push too hard too quickly. They either get injured or get so sore that it takes 2 weeks to recover from that. And they just kind of continue on this cycle where you're always too sore to then go work out. So you stop working out. You can't build any consistency in there. And to understand that, like, you're always operating on a sliding scale given all the other stressors in your life, what those looks like. Some periods are a little bit freer and you can take advantage there, but also just understanding that, like, that fatigue, the getting injured, me filling my lat, it's just our body's defense system saying, like, hey, in that time and place, that's your limit. And now we need to learn how to operate to raise your floor.
I agree, man. And it's experience. I think a lot of it comes down to experience and having the awareness with each experience to get a better understanding of our body and how it operates and learning to auto-regulate as well. For me in the gym, there's definitely times where, let's say I'm programmed to do 3 sets for the major muscle groups and 2 sets for the smaller muscle groups. But I know I can just tell, like if I go to, there's some days where I do hot yoga first. I find for the most part, it's a great way to warm me up for the weight training session. But there's some days where maybe I didn't hydrate enough because I'm sweating my butt off in there. Maybe I pushed myself harder than normal in the yoga class and I don't have as much of me to give to the weight training session. Now I could stubbornly try to push through it and kind of walk out of the gym feeling a little bit defeated because I know I wouldn't perform like I would normally perform. My numbers would be down. I'd dragging my butt through the workout. Or at the beginning of it, tell myself, you know what? It's okay to just do 2 sets for the major ones and 1 set for the other one. This is gonna be a lower volume day, and just give the best of myself to those sets. I'm setting myself up for all those sets are gonna be so much better. It becomes less daunting to me. Just like knowing that was an honest evaluation of the situation. It wasn't me going, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to be here right now. I'm just going to let's just do 2 sets because I'm being a lazy prick right now. It was like, no, this is like legitimate. It's in my best interest to reduce it right now. Whereas if you're being lazy, it might be your best interest to push through that and get the work done.
Yeah, and I think so that's what I meant earlier by like understanding how to just like apply the necessary energy to the situation. And I don't think it's ever could you have done 10 more sets of something? Sure. Would it have benefited you in any sort of way? No. Is it going to have detrimental impact on the back end? Probably. And it's learning, for me, it is like walking into those spaces, whether it be pickleball or whether it be going out for a run or lifting weights. It's like walking into the room and then taking my ego and setting it right there on the shelf where I know it'll be safe and saying like, what am I doing? Like it's like having those mental battles with yourself, and then understanding like, yes, you could push hard and you'll recover for it, and if you want, just do it again tomorrow or not. And it's like, it's not the last, unless it really is, it's not the last day you're gonna lift heavy things and put them back down, or you're gonna play pickleball. And 9 times out of 10, I'm better off for those things. Like, I don't exceed my capacity for recovery. I am smart and making sure that, like, yes, I'm challenged, I'm doing the things I need to do, but that I also feel good in doing it. Because if I didn't feel good in doing it, then like I'm not actually honoring my body. Maybe next time we can talk about that, because I know we've ran an hour here, but it's like a huge shift, and we will. I will mention this to you. A lot of the language I used to use, like I want to dominate myself and all of that. And it's like I've kind of started to feel a little off about the language and like thinking about what that means. And I don't actually want to, like, because that's not working with my body, honoring my body. It's doing the exact opposite. We could touch on that later. I'm curious to hear your
Dude,
thoughts on that.
I'm stoked. I can't wait for next week already, man. Yeah, that's a solid topic that I'm quite passionate about. So looking forward to it.
Sweet. Scott, I appreciate you as always, your knowledge, hearing your perspective, what's going on in your week. And Wednesday at 7 next week. So it'll be episode 4.
Brother, I appreciate you. Right back.